working number 1, you're solving for r, and our goal when we solve an equation is to isolate the variable. So when I'm using the division property, I will divide both sides by -19. You can use your calculator to type that in. On the right side, we have an r equals, and 57 divided by -19 is -3. We're going to work number 2 the same way. We're solving for x. We want to isolate x. The opposite of multiplying by -5 is dividing by -5. The -5's cancel on the left. We have x equals, and 0 divided by anything is 0. Number 3, when we solve, we want to isolate the variable. We're going to take -8 and move it over. That's the additive property of equality. The opposite of subtracting 8, adding 8 to the right side, n equals 9. And finally, number 4, we're solving for m. What comes right after m? A -2. So we're going to take that, move it over. Again, the addition property of equality. M equals 14 plus 2 is 16. Those are one-step equations. You can plug it back in to check it, and you may use your calculator to do so. Our next example on number 5, we're going to solve for b. What are you doing to b? You're multiplying by -2, so what's the opposite of multiplying? And that is dividing. b equals -24 divided by -2 is 12. And on number 6, what letter are you solving for? What variable? N. And what comes right after n? -19. So move that over by adding 19 to both sides. N equals -7 plus 19 is +12. Alright, here's a freebie problem. You don't have to pay me for this one. But what happens when we have a fraction in front of our variable? What we're used to saying is the opposite of multiplying by 3/4 is dividing by 3/4. But remember, on our calculators, because of order of operations, your calculator would not give you the correct answer if you forgot to put 3/4 in parentheses. So we had another method. We can multiply by the reciprocal of 3/4, which is 4/3. Literally just switching the top number and the bottom number. Remember, 12 is 12 over 1 written as a fraction, and to multiply fractions you go straight across the top, straight across the bottom. That would be 12 over 12, or you could think the 4 over 4 cancels and the 3 over 3 cancels, x equals. On the right side, just type in 12 times 4 divided by 3. Or in your head, you can say 3 goes into 12 one time, and that just leaves, 3 goes into 12 4 times, and that leaves 4 times 4 is 16. X equals 16, and again, you can plug it back in and check. So that problem is not on your review paper. It is just an extra one. When I plug it in and check it, 3 divided by 4 times 16 equals, and if I get 12, my answer is correct. And I do. 12, of course, equals 12. Our next problems are a little more difficult. These have parentheses. So the property we use to get rid of the parentheses, or to simplify, is the distributive property. On number 7, I'm going to bring down 85, and I'm multiplying the -6 into the parentheses. -6 times 1 is -6, and -6 times 2 is -12. Remember, I only like one sign, So instead of writing plus negative 12m, I'm going to write minus 12m. There are like terms on the right side. So negative 12m minus 1m can be combined. And that'll give me negative 13m. Remember, when they're on the same side of the equal sign, you use the signs that are given. 85 equals negative 6 minus 13m. Our goal now is to isolate the m. So I'm going to ignore that term and look at the very beginning. There is a minus 6. I'm going to take minus 6 and I'm going to move it over to the left by adding 6. Addition property of equality. 85 plus 6 is 91 equals negative 13m. Do not forget to bring that negative sign down with your 13. The final step to solve for m, the opposite of multiplying it by negative 13, is dividing by negative 13. So we have our m on the right side equals, and 91 divided by negative 13 is negative 7. Because there's a lot going on in this problem, you definitely want to plug it back in and check it. So 85 equals, when I simplify on the right side, I should end up with 85. Negative 6 with parentheses, 1 plus 2 times my m, which is negative 7, minus my m, negative 7. Look at how I plugged that in. It had a minus sign, and my number that I'm plugging in was a negative. Make sure you have both signs. You can simplify that right side on your calculator. And if we get 85, our solution is correct. And we do, so our answer is right. Alright, let's move on to number 8. We're going to use something very similar. We're going to take and we're going to distribute our negative 6 into the parentheses. Remember, I don't like the double signs, so when I multiply negative 6 times x, negative 6x, and when I do negative 6 times 8, I'm just going to write minus 48. What do you notice on the right side? I underlined like terms. Let's combine those. Negative 48 minus 4 is negative 52. Remember, we're using the signs that are there. Minus 48 minus 4. Negative 48 minus 4. So to isolate x, right after there's a minus 52. We're going to move it over by adding 52. If you're going to use your calculator to check that, negative 100 plus 52, negative 48 equals negative 6. Now that negative 6 term has an x. So the opposite of multiplying the x by negative 6 is dividing. X equals positive 8. Again, we need to check the solution. Negative 100 equals negative 6 times our x plus 8 minus 4. We're going to type that right side into the calculator. And we get negative 100 equals negative 100. And 10 are going to be worked the same way. We're going to distribute the 7. And now we're going to try to isolate k. This is a two-step equation. Right after k is a plus 7. Using the subtraction property of equality, we're going to subtract 7 from both sides. And we're left with negative 49k equals negative 189 minus 7 is negative 196. To isolate k, we need to take and divide both sides by negative 49. We have a k or a 1k on the left side equals 4, positive 4. Plug it in and check. Replace the k with a 4, and when you plug it in your calculator, you should get negative 189. Now I don't have a calculator in my hand right now, so let me work this one out using order of operations. Negative 7 times 4 is negative 28, and still in my parentheses, negative 28 plus 1 is negative 27. 7 times negative 27 is negative 189. For problem number 10, there's parentheses, so what do we need to do first? Distribute. We're going to distribute negative 3 into the parentheses. You can write plus negative 15, or again, I just like one sign minus 15. We need to isolate the x by moving that term minus 15 to the other side, and we do that by adding 15. Negative 87 plus 15 is negative 72. Negative 72 equals negative 9a. So our final step is to divide both sides by negative 9. A equals 8. We want to plug that back in and check. We're going to replace a with negative 8. And again, using order of operations, I'm going to go in my parentheses. I'm going to multiply 3 times 8. And then add 24 and 5. And negative 3 times 29 is negative 87. Both 11 and 12 have parentheses, so what should we do first? Yes, you can tell I'm already distributing on number 11. Negative 24b minus 3 equals 165. Let's move the minus 3 over by adding 3 to both sides. Negative 24b equals 168. And we'll divide on our last step. What are we dividing by? Negative 24. Divided by negative 24 is negative 7. Now let's grab the calculator and let's plug that in and check. Replace b with negative 7 and evaluate. Got it. Alright. Look at number 12. There is a negative in front of the 7. So when we're going to distribute on number 12, we have to make sure we distribute the negative as well. A lot of students want to combine 3 and 7, but you can't because 7 is being multiplied before you can combine it. So bring that 3 down and let's distribute the negative 7. Negative 7 times negative 6 is positive 42a, so that's why there's a plus sign. And negative 7 times 4 is negative 28. Make sure you check that sign at the end. I have like terms. I have two constant terms that I can put together. 269 equals negative 25 plus 42a. We're going to take the minus 25 and move it over. We're going to add 25 to both sides. I, of course, have my 42a on the right side and 294 on the left side. One more step to solve. We're going to divide. Now that we have an answer, let's plug it back in and check. Our last set of problems is translation problems. And the first thing we always do for translation problems is we figured out where the equal sign was going to be. Then we looked on the left side and translated and the right side. So I am circling is equal to, it's my equal sign. Then I see the words more than, less than, sum of, difference of are our tricky terms. When you're using more than, you're adding, but that number or that variable would go at the end. So plus 12 is at the end. Well, what is 12 more than? You're going to pop that variable down there in the front, and then jump over to the right side. It's equal to 28. We do the same thing for the next problem. Find the equal sign. Is equal to. Do we have any tricky terms? More than, less than, sum of, difference of. Yes, more than. So we're going to add 10 at the end, and 10 is more than 10. Jump to the right side, 7. Number 15. Single little word is means the equal sign. Do you have any tricky terms? You have less than, so that's minus 13 from the end, equals 46. Let me point out that if you were to switch the order in more than, because of the commutative property, it's still correct. But in number 15, if you write 13 minus n, it is incorrect. Number 16 is equal to. A number cubed means the power of 3. Number 17 is equal to. A number squared, or u squared, is to the power of 2. Number 18, the word is our equal sign, and we have some tricky terms. So 13 goes at the end, 23 goes at the end, minus 23. Number 19, the little word is. And product means multiplication. Another way to write m times 8 equals 49 is to write it as 8m. Mathematically, we put our coefficients first in front of the variables, and then we alphabetize our letters that are in the term. Either answer would be acceptable. No tricky terms on our last one. X minus 7 equals 36. I'm going to give you one more problem to do, just to make sure we all know what we're doing. Please copy this one down on your paper, and we're going to practice translating this one together. Twice the sum of x and 2 is 9. First thing we do is find the equal sign. Is. On the left side, do you see any tricky terms? Sum of. Sum of, difference of, we're going to use parentheses, and sum means addition. That word and separates the terms that we're adding. So we're adding an x and 2. Was there anything else on the left side? You'll notice at the very front it says twice the sum of. So in front of our parentheses, we're going to put 2 times the sum of x and 2. And on the left side, on the right side, there's just a 9. If you forget the parentheses, this one's wrong. Good luck next class on your test.